Welcome. Ziggy1X here with another NieR reincarnation video. And my voice is totally shot because I've been at soccer games screaming at underage boys kicking crap out of each other for the last couple nights. This is my 500 subscriber video I promised, and I couldn't think of a more appropriate time to bring it forward because in light of certain circumstances which have just dawned upon us out of the blue as if by magic, we have Abyssal mirror Yurie. So this is what my prediction of Abyssal mirror Yurie was going to be when I created this all those months ago, when I hit that 500 subscriber mark. So let's celebrate a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about this. I'll walk you through the process that I went through. You can see here, and I'm going to point out specifics that turned out to be in the final piece and maybe didn't quite make the cut on mine. You'll notice the positioning of her legs and how it's very similar there with the left leg kicked out, very similar to the way it ended up being in the official art. You'll also notice that I have wings off to the left there, and the final piece had wings. Now here I changed it because I wanted to make her more poised like a dancer. Now the other one does have that sort of dancer look, but I've always thought of Yurie as a dancer. Even though Marie's kind of always seen as the dancer, I've always seen Yurie as very athletic. And even in the New People in the World cinematic that we got, if you look at the way she runs and the way her hair flies behind her and everything, you can see that she's incredibly athletic looking. She pushes 063Y through the door. And so she's very lithe, very petite, very athletic. So that was the look I was trying to go for, but I was also trying to capture the style, to the best of my ability, of the artist for the game. So as you can see here, we're going through, and I'm starting to, I kind of made the sketch work a little bit less opaque, and now I'm doing a little bit more clean line work, but this isn't really the clean line. Normally what I would do with something like this is I may do a little bit of pen work or something a little bit more along the lines of shading, but if you notice, the NieR reincarnation artwork has a lot of pencil looking lines on their characters. Now you'll see here I'm starting to bring in some color because I'm trying to, this is more for me conceptualizing where I want the colors to be. I'm very off the cusp when it comes to my artwork, especially when it comes to color work, because I don't have a ton of experience with color. I don't usually use color as a medium. But you'll see here I brought in Abyssal Hunter as a frame of reference. I wanted to get the correct coloring for the red, the Abyssal red, as well as the black outfit. And since Yurie is in the Abyssal costumes tend to somewhat, in a lot of ways, mirror the 2-star costume look. So I knew that that was the look that I wanted to go for. And you'll see that that paid off because in the official art, the original costume was what the artist went for as well. Now there's a few things, you'll see some changes here. You can see the long nails as well. I originally wasn't sure what color I wanted to make those. I was thinking black, then I was thinking red. They ended up being red. But I also was thinking also of having the gun. You can see this kind of hovering in front of her hand with her hand splayed forward as if willing the gun forward. And I kind of liked that, but then I eventually settled on her actually holding it. Now you'll see here I brought in New Year Yurie because that was the skin tone that I thought was probably the most consistent. And so basically what I was doing is I was sampling that skin tone to make sure that I got her skin tone right. And again, when you see these girls side by side, mine versus the official, skin tone's pretty much spot on. Now, this is a base color. And you'll see in here that I've already kind of designed the way I want her chest piece to look. And you'll also see that I have basically that segmented shoulder going on there. And eventually I'm going to add the red to it. You'll see that happen here very soon. But you can see that those pieces of her that are flying off on her arm, the official piece has it flying all the way up the arm. Mine only goes to the elbow. But one of the things that, probably the piece that really inspired me for this, the imagery that got stuck in my head when I was creating this, was actually because she's so fixated on her eye. That is the focus of most of what she does. because she's incomplete. Yurie knows that she's incomplete, and it's because of that right eye that she's missing. So when I conceptualized this, I thought of her Abyssal version, just basically saying screw it and ripping that part of her face off. That was where I was going with this. I wanted that to be a part of it. I thought it would be really cool if the developers played with this a little bit more. They didn't. And just personally, I think that was a missed opportunity. I think they should have done something with the eye, because the eye is the source of her fixation in her story. And eventually when she does get a hold of Marie, she rips Marie's eye out and puts it into her own socket. And that's what causes her to basically delete herself, because she gains the conscience. The conscience was in the right eye. And she realizes the horrible things she's been doing to obtain her goals. So getting back to the picture here, you can see I've still got that kind of brownish base color on her outfit. This is going to be changing. You'll see I'm also playing with the backgrounds. I'm going from a light background to a dark background. One of the things I was trying to capture was to make sure that the highlights were looking good with the hair and the clothing. I also had a lot of loose pencil work kind of still floating around in the picture, and I wanted to make sure that I was deleting all of that because I wanted a very nice, clean, finished project. And so I think I'm going to add the lines into the hair here very soon. The hair was very sketchy though for me. The hair was difficult. The three hardest parts of this picture were the left hand with the gun, the feet, and actually I was very happy with how those turned out, and the hair. And you'll also notice that going through there, I changed the lips up a lot. I couldn't quite get on what I wanted with her mouth. And so once I got those things squared away, the rest of it came together pretty well. It came together pretty easily for me. And so let's see, what are we doing now? Okay, this is fun. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and the way this lined up with Abyssal Mirror Yurie landing, and so much of it being similar to what I conceptualized months ago, and jokingly put on Reddit that I had snuck into Applebot's office and gotten a picture kind of thing. It was a silly prank. I actually got in a little bit of trouble with it with one of the moderators because they thought I was actually sharing leaked material. And so it strokes my ego, feels good. But anyways, I'm a little bit of a prankster sometimes. This was just something I wanted to do. But let's go ahead here, and where are we at? Okay, so my video paused on me, and you can see that I'm going through and just basically doing the detail shots. So the rest of this really is me just slowly polishing over. Because again, going into this, I had an idea of what I wanted. And I wanted the athleticism of Yurie to be carried through. I wanted the eye to be the focal point of it. And I wanted it to maintain a very similar look to what we saw with her 2-star costume, whilst trying to the best of my ability, maintain the original style of the artist and just kind of add my own little flair to it. So as we continue here, where are we at? Okay. Oh, you can see I did a little bit of goof work there. You can see, now there's another thing. You'll see there's some purples in there that I'm putting into her skin tone as well as into her hair. Maybe you didn't notice immediately, but there's purples on her skin and on her hair in the shadowed areas. And looking back at a lot of the other work that the artists have done for the Abyssal pieces, among others, is they don't shade with the blacks and the darks, they shade with purples sometimes. And so I wanted, again, I'm trying to maintain to the best of my ability the style that the artists wanted to use, because I wanted to make this as close a prediction as I could. If I was on the team, if I was creating this character, this is how I would have envisioned her moving forward. All right, so my references are going to disappear here very soon because I'm just about done with them. But you can see here that her clothing is darkening up. It's getting darker, 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 and it's right at the point where I want it to be. It's about where it was with the 2-star. It's pretty close match to the Abyssal Mirror Gale, and now I'm starting to feel pretty good with things right now. So let's see what we got going on here. Okay, now I've got the white background. And the purpose of that is purely just to make sure that I cleaned up my line work. And now you'll see the detail on the knees. And actually, again, the leggings and the knees and things like that, pretty darn close. I embellished them a little bit, but pretty darn close to the way they turned out in the official piece. Again, when I first saw the official artwork for Abyssal Mirror Yurie, my jaw dropped. It hit the ground. First of all, that we're getting her so soon, but second of all, that, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, this is insane. So now you can see me cleaning up the feet here, because actually one of the things, this was a Redditism. I posted the first image on Reddit, and someone said, or someone's, I got a bunch of saying, hey, why isn't she barefoot? That's kind of a thing with Yurie. And I was, oh, okay, that's a good point. I'll go ahead and do that. And personally, I hate drawing feet. It vexes me so. So I'm very proud of the way these turned out. And you'll notice even I gave her red nail polish, red nails. It's not polish, it's nails. And her fingers, her nails, her long nails on her hands were also red as well in the official art. And here we've got it right here. So even the way, I mean, her blouse is exposed a little bit more on the official work. And you can see those red lines kind of coming from her chest and down into her outfit. You can see, if we're looking at the differences here, the leggings, very similar. She has, the official art has the line work on the legs, while I had mine on the arms. Guns in the other hand, obviously. My Yurie's left-handed for some reason. Oh yeah, because of the eye. And you can see that their wings are there. The big difference, the big difference is that she has the face accoutrements and the headgear like what she has on her abstract version. And that actually kind of surprised me. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Of all the aesthetic choices they made with this piece, that's the one that I'm actually not really a fan of. Everything else about it is just perfection. I mean, everything else about this piece that the developers did is perfection. And maybe it is in part because I'm so fixated on the vision that I had, the original vision that I had with her ripping her face off, to just because, screw you to the eye. This is the piece that I never had, and this is the Abyssal Mirror version of this character, the costume. And this is the one that just doesn't give a whole lot of figs. And so that's kind of why I went in that direction. So personal bias, obviously, but I still think that the eye is a missed opportunity. I'm not a big fan of Yurie covering up her mouth and chin. Actually, I think that she's just got a great looking face, so obviously, why would you cover that up? The headgear on the back and the sides, that's fine. Actually, that's pretty cool. And it kind of goes in line with the gear that she's got coming off of her back, going into the wings. And the wings, ooh, those look so good. Those look so good. So, and then of course I mean, even the line work, if you look at the legs where it's coming in from where that piece pivots on the hip, and then it goes down around the inner thigh, you got that line work that's kind of cutting in and down. I did the same thing. And so even just the way the line work works, the belt, it's cool. I mean, this is like Christmas for me right now, because while it's not official, while it's not as good as the official work, I mean, I will happily admit the official work is just so, the artwork in this game, the artists, I mean, chef's kiss. I will say it over and over again. Beautiful artwork, incredibly talented people working on this art. So that's going to be my final breakdown. That was a little dive into the thought process and kind of how I went about doing this. This has been a fun little thing for me. I don't get to do artwork very often anymore. It's something that I grew up living in my own little fantasy world. I was a dreamer growing up. As soon as I could, I started doing things like Dungeons and Dragons and whatnot, because I loved creating worlds of fantasy. I loved being a part of worlds of fantasy. I would go when recess would come down. I would sit in the classroom and write stories and draw pictures. And occasionally I'd bump out and go play soccer and kickball and things like that and other games that kids play. But more often than not, or sculpt things out of wax and stuff like that. We had cool little, I went to this really hippie school, and we did all sorts of arts and crafts and dancing and music and everything else. So I do play the cello as a result of that, and choir and a few other things. Obviously you can't hear that right now because my voice sounds like a frog, but there's arts that I was introduced to because of my because of a more liberal education that I was raised in, a more arts-centric education. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun growing up with. So the arts are something that are very important to me. I don't get to do them as much anymore because life, family, work, things. And when I do get to occasionally sit down and do these things, I treasure it. So this is, again, thank you. 500 subscribers. I know we're a little past that now. I'm knocking on the door of 700, at least last time I checked. We'll see what happens with that. But hey, maybe I'll even hit 1,000. You know, how cool would that be? I never expected that when I got this started. And it's been weird. I mean, it's been a little weird to see how these things happen. The NieR reincarnation community is pretty niche. This is not a game that appeals to people at the same excitement level, I would say, as some of the other more flashy ones. You got Honkai Star Rail out there right now, which is way too flashy for me. I mean, a lot of people are playing it, but I took one look at that game and I was thinking, I'm gonna have a seizure just watching this. And there's other things that people really enjoy playing, but it feels like people move from game to game to game. I don't do that. I pick a game, and if I really enjoy it, I stick with it. And that's just the way I roll. I'm still playing Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, okay? If I like a game and I stick with it, I stick with it. So that's the way I like playing. That's what I have in mind for NieR Reincarnation. And I'm really looking forward to the big June collaboration. I've got a pretty good idea what it's gonna be. Wink, wink, nod, nod. And I think that we are going to be in for a treat there. I also will be looking forward to maybe putting out some content. I don't know if I'm going to have time, honestly, to put out anything on the Fate board, the new 21 through 25 Dark Light Fate board. Oh my gosh, that was challenging for me. So, you know, wow, this stuff's getting hard now. So I think I'm going to leave it here before I go on too long. Thank you, everybody. Celebrate. I'm grateful for all of you and your support. And I am hoping my son's soccer team wins the state championship tomorrow night. So peace out, y'all. Have a good one. Bye.